a lot of court cases since nomination court. There's the July 12 CCC aspiring MPs as well. There's their appeal is being heard today, of course, and then there's Sevia Kasukwere, who's also still has an appeal that is pending. And of course, yesterday we saw Honorable Minister Modi being taken to court by Raymond Gombeza. So, want to talk about that today to say, what do you guys think, and what does it mean when you look at it from the perspective of democracy? As well, today, as you know, ZANU-PF is having a star rally in Culture Park, and Brighton is on the ground. He'll be joining us to give us an update on what is happening there. President Mnangagwa will be addressing the people there. So please do stay tuned for more of our programs and for updates as well from site. Otherwise, please do request the mic. I've done the news, of course, and remember to follow site ZW, that is on our Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube and TikTok pages for more updates, and for the news, the website is site.org.zw. Otherwise, I see I've been joined by one speaker. Remember, guys, to request the mic so that you get to share your thoughts on today's topic. Good morning, Bennett. What's your comment today?
Yeah, my comment is, these appeals and law court cases, and that's good because people cannot flout laws and rules because they want to be, get into government or to be MPs, and we should be considerate. No, let's follow the law. Democracy means the law. The law creates the democracy we want, and the law protects the democracy we want. All the things people are clamoring for, some of the people who are aggrieved, they are already embedded in the laws. The consideration, the fairness, the free and fair elections, they are all been considered when these laws were being crafted. Anything else is outside the laws. And this is something we can look at later, maybe in the following parliament. For now, let's adhere strictly to the law. It doesn't matter who it is. I can see the problem with politicians in our country. They want to be treated differently from citizens. They think they can break the law willy-nilly and use, being unfairly treated to hide behind flouting the laws. So I'm happy with the way things are going. Our courts, I believe, are very good in interpreting the law. They'll give us the answers. If anyone fell foul of the law, let them copy it so that next time they are more careful. These people want to go into parliament to craft laws, but they don't want to follow the laws they craft. This constitution was written mostly by these political parties which we have today. And when they were writing, what did they think about? So they must copy it. They are not writing the laws for us to obey the laws, the citizens, but for everyone. Everyone is below the law. So I am happy when laws are being flouted and people are taken to court. If they appeal, whoever appeals and wins, it means that's a correct position. And we applaud it. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Bernard, for that comment. Yeah, Bernard says, he's happy because the law is being followed and the law has a purpose and it's serving that purpose. Thank you so much, Bernard, for that comment this morning. Let's hear from Tapiwa. Good morning, Tapiwa. What's your comment on today's topic? Tapiwa, are you there?
Oh, yeah, hello, Auntie, you right? Yeah, what I want, what I actually, but myself, I don't live in Zimbabwe. But what I'm happy about is the fact that people can talk without beating each other up. I'm so happy about that. Well, some of us, 1980, I was there. I was a 10-year-old in 1980 when the elections were done, And 80, I was there. And then you come to other elections and this and that. They're very, very violent. But what I found out is that this one, I think, is a bit alright. It's a bit alright. So it's exactly about you. What are you sort of presenting to people for you to get votes? It's not because you're very violent. No, no, no one is going violent to you. So the idea now is if you look at the infrastructure, especially in Metabaland, I was watching in Kai, the rally in Kai, and I said, okay, what exactly? So I would try to in my mind, yeah, to imagine. So what can CCC say? Or how can they like compete in Kai? And then I failed. I failed completely. Because what's happening with the opposition is that they lack substance. They have the mouth, yes, of course, yeah. Because gob, they give the gob. But to be honest with you, it's the opposition is struggling in a sense, and I wish I could help them if they listen. The problem is, as soon as we talk to them, they're very, 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 very insulting. Well, who's a Maivako, this and that. So, but they have to learn. Some of us, like me, I've worked with the local councils in England. Uxbridge, and I could help them anytime. But the problem that we have is that we have a very stubborn opposition that actually think they're privileged. But to be honest with you, you have to perform for you to be privileged. So I'm so sorry, you listen to me, you're not kissing me, or thinking maybe you're gonna kiss. You know, these people, they actually don't understand what local government is all about. And why are they running our cities in the first place? Why are they running our cities? Um,
Well,
ah,
Tapiwa,
mhm.
maybe let's stick to the topic. We're talking about the
Okay.
elections and the court cases, and the question is, what does this mean for democracy?
Okay. What you mean with democracy? Democracy and the laws are two different things. The law is a law. Okay, we have a constitution, right? The constitution sets rules for the democracy. So if you look at the constitutional courts, they are established out of the constitution, right? So when you look at the shenanigans that happens, well, that's the constitution. If you actually dispute what the constitution, especially the electoral courts, for example, what they say, oh, we've been here for donkey years. Where you been? They're asking you a question, right? So it's not you to ask them the question. You understand? So listen. I want to tell some young lady. Um, if we have an establishment, and then you go in the establishment and you actually question the authority of that establishment, something wrong with. Mm, I don't
Okay,
know.
let's go to
Listen. Mm. So
okay.
that's the
Please
idea.
answer
The
as a
idea,
time.
the idea. I know. Listen. The idea is that you basically take your time. You had 4 years to organize yourself. Okay, 4 years, and then the last minute you actually, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And then that call will tell you, oh my God, so where you been? Okay, that's fine, that's fine. Okay, we can give you a bit of a leverage. But iwewe unozviitisa iwo unozviitisa. Unoona? Topane nyaya ipapo bro. But listen, young lady. Um, our government has been fan. As a fan.
We are no
As a
longer
fan.
having. Can you step him down? I think he's intoxicated. Please, we can't have such in this space
Yeah,
when we are trying to debate. Please.
yeah. Thank you so much, Anjablo. I've already dropped him. Yeah. Well, we've heard what he had to say, but let's hear from the others as well. Good morning, Mandaza. What's your comment on today's topic?
Good morning, everyone. Good morning to the other speaker that has spoken. And it's very shame that we have people that are intoxicated coming onto the spaces and just and verbal diarrhea. It's a shame. The elections and the court cases, what does this mean for democracy? This is, it's a shame what is happening with the reports that are coming through that some of the judges that have presided over these cases appear to be having some houses being bought for them just few days before the rulings, and it's a breakdown of democracy in Zimbabwe. So the case of the 12 in the CCC, the case of the 12, it's a shame. People were able to still put their application within the day, and if you're making a judgment, you should be able to look, is it good for the public, is it good for the thing? If people were able to put the application within a day, and everything was going well and they were within the building, you're supposed to be able to then look and see, is it fair? I know there's a constitution, like the former speaker has said, that the constitution were crafted by the MDCs, but they were crafted to be able for the judges to have a look at it and think, if someone has casted the application within the same day, what does it kill you for you to make that ruling that the application went on to the things? 12 people to be 12 members of parliament. It's a lot for Matebeleland as well. It's a shame that our democracy has just been eroded by the ruling party and them bribing judges and on their way there. We need to change the constitution, and we need to reduce some of the powers that the judges have and the president have as probably in the future. Yeah, it's a shame. It's a shame. We just inheriting a broken society with the judges. Unfortunately, the ZAC, which is appointed by the judge chairman or the judge chair lady, is appointed by the president, and we cannot do anything. They don't have any conviction at all. None of these judges can be convicted as well, because the president also elects the judges as well. The Supreme Judge Malaba is elected by the president. So, wow. Well, this is just the beginning. Even if you contest, if the results are not going to come out favorable to the opposition or anybody, it's just going to go to the same judges that are being sworn in by the president, and nothing will never happen again. So it's a shame for our democracy. That's all I have this morning.
Well, thank you so much, Mandaza, for that contribution this morning. Well, before we continue, I see we've been joined by Brighton. He had promised to give us Jabulo. Good morning, Jabulo. Yeah, let's be brief so that we get the details as well. Ahead.
Okay. Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, clear, Jabulo.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. I've loved what people are saying when it comes to the law. The law has to be the law, and the mistake that a lot of people come up here and make is that when the law is being applied, they don't know who's being put in the bad light. The opposition is not being, was not the one which was being putting the bad light or other contestants of Lawal. They was being put in the bad light. They broke the law. If they broke the law by accepting or by going overboard. So it's not the opposition which is being questioned. It is the ability for ZEC to implement the laws that they are given. So the opposition took chances, if I may put it that way, by going to the court, by going to the nomination court and pushing for their papers to be accepted. Even if people say no, it was beyond time or the police officers did that, no, it doesn't really matter. So what really matters at the end of the day, the question that we should be asking each and every person who's in this space, is that fit for purpose? Is it going to run a credible election at the end of the day? If they failed to run just a nomination court just for less than 8 hours, to just run a nomination court and be able to process the nominees without any without them breaking the laws that are given to them. So this is the question we should be asking. We shouldn't even be asking. Even if I came to the nomination court the next day and they accepted my paper, it's not my fault because I took the chance. It's not my fault that they accepted. Even if I came after 2 weeks and they accepted my paper, it's not my fault. We should be questioning that if ZEC is credible at the end of the day. This is what the court judgments are all about. They are not about any other political party. They are about ZEC at the end of the day. Thank you, Nota.
For that contribution. Now let's go to Brighton. Good morning, Brighton. What is happening down there in Culture Park? Well, we seem to have lost Brighton there, but yeah, we wait for him to reconnect. While we wait, let's hear from Coxmen. Good morning, Coxmen. What's your comment on today's topic?
Hello, how are you, Nonshasha, and everyone on the panel? Um, I just think ZANU-PF doesn't care about the growth of our country, our economy, because some of these things that happens towards elections, after elections, they determine what will happen like after these 4 5 years that probably they will get after rigging the elections. Most of the times we've seen ED moving around the world with the scarf saying Zimbabwe is open for business. But when they are, displaying these dictatorial um, tendencies, especially on the opposition, it also shows that even on the economy side of things, that's what they do. Because we've had stories and read stories of people who came into the country. They wanted to, do some investments, and
Right, Coxman,
this guy,
allow me
no,
to put you on hold a bit. Brighton has just joined us. We lost him earlier. I don't want us to lose him again. Good morning, Brighton. What's happening in Culture Park?
Good morning to you. How are you this morning? I hope you guys are well. I'm coming live from Culture Park Clinic, Brighton, Culture Park, where the President Emerson Mnangagwa to open the Culture Park Health Center this morning. Waiting for him to arrive this morning to open the Culture Park Clinic right in Bulawayo. And also we passed by Mkitika grounds this morning on our way to the clinic, and people are gathering there. The buses are coming through to get faster to people coming all over Zimbabwe and to attend the rally, which is scheduled to start at 9 a.m. Where the president is supposed to be speaking there, addressing party supporters there this morning. But quite interesting crowd. People are gathered in large numbers. The roads are closed. Some of the parts of the roads are closed. People are coming to get fast to attend that rally. So yeah, now I'm at the Health Center right here in Bulawayo, where we're waiting for the president to come and officially open the clinic here in Bulawayo. I'll be giving you more updates as the day goes on.
Well, thank you so much, Brighton, for that update. Yeah, it's buzzing in Culture Park, as Brighton has said, that people are coming in and waiting for the president to come and address them, and also to open a clinic. If I heard him correctly, there was a bit of noise, but I hope you guys heard what Brighton was saying there. Maybe let's get back to today's topic: elections and court cases. What does it mean for democracy? Ntate Mdluli, what do you think? What does this mean for democracy? Mdluli, are you there?
Yes, good morning, Nonhlan.
Good
So yeah,
morning, sir. Go ahead.
yes. So I think people tend to sort of like, concoct the law and democracy as the same things. We need to define what democracy focuses on and what the law focuses on, right? So there needs to be a distinction between the two, right? So if you check, democracy focuses on how societies, select those who hold power, right? While if you look at the rule of law, it's concerned with how political power is exercised. So at the end of the day, when law is passed, it's not passed based on emotions, it's passed based on law, right? Law has principles. The law is actually hard at the end of the day, but it remains the law. So people need to shelve some emotions here and there, because at the end of the day, democracy submits to the law. So if the people are democratic enough, they need to submit to the law. And there are some of my brothers here who don't even understand the ruling that was presided for those 12, CCC House of Representative cadres. So if you realize what the ruling was based on, I think that's when people can then sort of like debate on what it was based on. So if, let's say, you're outside the court of the nomination court on that respective day, you're busy doing your own things, and then you come in after 4. You're not inside the nomination court. You come in after 4. And then you hand over your papers to a police officer who's manning the gate at the nomination court. Does that constitute to you being there or physically present at the nomination court? That's a question some people need to ask themselves. Where were these 12 guys all along, only to come in later on to submit their papers? So these are some of the questions that you need to interrogate from the opposition themselves. They need to sort themselves out. They employed funny strategies, which actually at the end of the day worked to their disadvantage. For them to go on and blame some people, it will be
why don't we talk about
not doing justice to themselves.
So please wait for your turn. Let him speak and finish.
But he's not talking about the topic.
Thank you, Nonhlanhla. So yeah, I think people really need to separate, emotions, democracy, and the law. Those three are not, connected in any way. When you follow rulings, you need to follow what a ruling is based on, right? It's not based on generalizations. It's based on the law. So if anything is premised on the law, you need to interrogate the law. What is the law saying around that judgment, right? So I heard some people saying judges were bribed by giving houses and what. Guys, the state takes care of its workers. I think that is known. I mean, it's not a bribe. That is known. And, the issue of judges being given, houses or whatever, or allowances or whatever, it's within the law, right? And that thing has been in the pipeline for a long time. So it's nothing new, really. It's been happening. It's happening the world over. So for people to say that's a bribe, I think, at times we tend to console ourselves with things that are not real. That sounds like a fantasy to me at the end of the day. If you are going to say that is a bribe, the state takes care of its workers. That's what the state does at the end of the day. So yeah, democracy is being followed. Democracy submits to the law. Let's see if the Democrats themselves will submit to the law that is being passed in the courts. I think this is my submission for today, Nonhlanhla. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Ntate Mdluli. Well, that was Ntate Mdluli and what he thinks on democracy. He says democracy submits to the law. Now, good morning, Titus. What do you think about what we are discussing today? What does this election in these court cases, what does this mean for democracy?
Yeah, thanks, Nosala. Thank you for the space. Yeah, I think personally, I think it's an assault on democracy. What we are.
Titus, are you there?
Yeah, can you not hear me?
He is talking. You can't hear him.
Yeah, it's unfortunate if the host can't hear me, and she's the only host as well. Okay, I'll just go ahead. Yeah,
Can Titus continue and then we'll let you know when he finishes?
you can't hear him. Yeah, it's unfortunate if the host can't hear me.
Well, go ahead. I can hear you now,
You
Titus.
can hear me now. Yeah. I was just saying it's sad when we've got people that actually come and see. You know, we can tell that we are under attack. The democracy is under attack, and people are talking about the law. I'll play something for literally 5 seconds. Okay, I think it's disappeared. I'll get it back. So what I was saying is just one sec. Sorry. Okay, I just played something there where there were audience, ZANU-PF supporters talking about Pamberi for Chamisa, Pasneva Chamchema, and Nikaine Tongwane. Why is it then the law is selective in who they actually, when it comes to the law, why is it selective? Some people are immune to being subjected to the law. These guys were clearly inciting violence and talking about the death of one of our senior politicians in Zimbabwe. But it does seem that the law, I heard Bennett here saying, yeah, the law is the law, yeah, everyone should abide to the law. But we seem to have a selective process whereby some people are subjected to the law and some people are not. So what we have in our country, my sister, is just an authoritarian regime, and there's a centralized power. We can all see that. It's a type of government that prioritize maintaining their power and control, and they do that at all costs. And they do that over the well-being of the citizens. They do that over the rights of the citizens. They use violence, they use repression, there's intimidation, there's suppress and of any opposition, and they all do this just to maintain in power. And of late now, we have seen that they are using the courts. We have seen killings, we've seen torture, we've seen imprisonment, we've seen forced disappearances. We're talking of Job Scholar right now, who is in prison over a year without bail. So the system that we are experiencing is the centralization of power within the first family or within whoever the leaders are there. It's a small group that hold absolute authority, and this is the case with our ZANU-PF. Someone mentioned that ZANU-PF is no longer the ZANU-PF of old, whereby people fought for democracy, the likes of Veggie and all that. This has been hijacked by mafia, and this is what we see. There's so much manipulation of the media control. There's restriction of freedom of speech. Assembly is restricted. And now we've seen that they're employing this kind of secret police like FARS and all that, to do all the dirty work. And what we should all know is that the best knowledge is that the primary goal of the current government is to maintain and control power, and they will do this at any cost. So all these court shenanigans that is happening, we'll be waiting for the results today at 2 p.m. and it will be interesting to see what comes out there. But I think this will have a very, very big implication in the future of Zimbabwean politics. Whatever outcome is coming out today with the Blaue 12 and the other six of other parties, the decision that the Supreme Court will take today will have a very, very big impact on our democracy and on the future of Zimbabwe. So I will just leave it at that. And just to mention again to my brother Bento and Tapiwa, the law should be applied to all citizens. It shouldn't be selectively applied to other people and not to the other. Thanks, my sister.
Well, thank you so much, Titus, for that contribution. Well, quite interesting there. But if you're just joining us today, we're talking about elections and court cases. What does this mean for democracy? And, we've heard others are saying, like Titus has said, the law is the law. And Datem Zulu said, democracy submits to the law. And others were saying, you know what, we are quite happy with what is happening. The law is taking its course. All is fair. Now, let's hear from Iso. Good morning, Iso. What's your comment on today's topic?
Good morning, host and co-host. Um, Democracy is on the chopping block, and this has been happening for over 43 years while ZANU-PF has been in charge. You can tell that democracy is on the chopping block when the president speaks. The president says that he's in control of the police, the army, all the security apparatus, anything you can think of. He goes on to even say that it does not matter whom you elect, we will choose who we are going to help. So even if you can choose your own candidate from the opposition, we will not help them to make progress, which is apparent anyway, that's what's happening. But today, democracy is not only on the chopping block, uh, just like we saw in the 80s during the Gukuraundi, Blawa is on the chopping block again. Blawa is being made an example of the ruling party knows that they will not win a thing in Blawa. So they're trying by all means to just, you know, take it away by hook and by crook. And the other thing to top it up is that they've got uh, the professor, the so-called professor. I'll say so-called professor, not disrespect to professorship, but we've got a professor who's coming in there, and he will be defeated if this election was free and fair. So they are trying to give him an easy ride, and this is what's going on. Blawa is in trouble because it does not vote for ZANU-PF. ZANU-PF is trying to take away Blawa in an easier way where there's no contestation. Democracy is on the chopping block, and that is not even in question. The judiciary is captured, the police is captured, the army, everything. You can go back to the issues in the 80s, nothing is resolved. They keep talking, and somebody yesterday was saying that we shouldn't be talking about what happened in the 80s. And I was like, you are not a victim. That's why you think that people should not talk about it. And that is a sign that we are under a dictatorship and things are going to get worse. But there is one thing that goes against any dictatorship. The script is the same that they follow, but eventually the people have to face up to the dictatorship. And this is where ZANU-PF is taking us. People have no choice except to rise up. And that's exactly where we are going. At the end of the day, we're trying to vote and we're being stopped voting for whoever we want. We are being imposed candidates upon. So at the end of the day, we have to rise up. And that's what's going to happen. Democracy is on the chopping block. I'm not expecting anything favorable unless ZANU-PF has also other cases similar to this. Then they may stop it for that reason. They may try to reinstall these candidates for that reason. But if it's not that, we are being manipulated, and the law is being manipulated to suit whatever ZANU-PF wants. So I want to thank you very much. But don't let some people come here and trash your space, because it's hard of hearing to listening to people that come and talk hogwash. Thank you very much for Western co-host.
Well, thank you, Iso, for that contribution. Well, that's what Iso thinks about these court cases and the elections and democracy. Now, let's move on to Veggie. Good morning, Veggie. What do you think? What does this mean for democracy?
Good morning, Nonhlanhla. Siyabonga ngethuba leli. I think we have a problem. I think everyone would admit that as a nation, we are now having a democracy problem, because if you look at the number of court cases that are coming, that shows you that we have a problem, especially in the way that ZEC runs its things, the way our elections are being done, the way, I mean, our democracy. Because now at the moment we have the courts now coming up with a determination on who is supposed to represent who and where. I think that's a problem. If you look at Ikes Kasukwere, I mean, the judgment says that he cannot contest because they have not been in the country for 18 months. That begs a question, because now, what about the diasporans? Because when last time people have been demanding for diaspora votes, ZEC has come out to say people should come and register, and then they should come and vote. So obviously, we have so many diasporans who are out there who have been out of the country probably for more than 18 months. That's the obvious truth that is there. And you ask yourself there, Uguti, what's going on? I mean, is Gasquere not a citizen? I mean, isn't this supposed to stand? And why can't we let people decide whom they want, not the courts barring people and stopping someone from contesting unless they have a real criminal record that can be talked about? Now, if you talk about the CCC 12, and that comes around and tries to explain the rule and all that, the law, but we know, we all read the court case. The judgment was based on that document ASEC, which indicated Uguti when they were entering when they were capturing the forms of these 12, they were captured later after 4. ZEC comes out and says these guys were there before 4, and ZEC actually says that in agreement with the applicant, I mean the defendants, to say they were there by the court, but they could not get inside because the courtroom could not accommodate more than 12 people. So obviously there were 12 people at a time, I mean, who were getting in. So these guys were there at the premises. The problem had to do with the ZEC and how it was running its things in terms of these guys to submit their papers. Everything is quite clear. And we have a shocking court case. You ask yourself one question: shouldn't also the judges take consideration of what was transpiring there at the time? Because you have to look at other factors. And someone also was highlighting, I think it's a lawyer who said that even if a paper is submitted an hour or 2 hours later, honestly, we need to, when you're making a judgment, you have to look at it to say, what is the implication? You cannot deny someone from representing people for the next 5 years because they were left with a minute or with a second or something like that. We need to look at that. I mean, this is democracy. For me, for us to come and use the law to bar people and exclude others, I don't think it works. It actually is against democracy. I think our judges, for me, if I was a judge, High Court judge, I would have said the matter being brought to us here, it's a matter to deal with the democracy and the civilian issues. Let the people decide who they want to lead them. You cannot disqualify someone because they brought a document late. For me, I don't understand. There were challenges. Even if you go to like in Mash West and in Mashingo, where people were saying that the machine for the machine for swiping to get the money was a challenge. In some other instances, the system was down for some hours and people had to submit their papers late because of those challenges. All those things need to be brought into consideration. We cannot let courts make a decision and determination for the people. Let the people decide. That is democracy. Let people vote and make their choices. Right now, we have people who are not even there when the issue happened, right? Who are relying on tweets and other things to come up with a court case. Why don't you let the people of Bulawayo make their decision on whom they want to vote? Those guys have no criminal record. Let the people decide. That is democracy. You cannot impose people on people based on trying to come up with the law and self-vetting. And I can tell you now that
I hope you're
as of
learning,
yesterday,
Veggie.
okay, I'm learning. As of yesterday, you remember much again, the Blair South candidate. There is already a challenge of him as well. Now we have court cases. When will they end? When will the elections happen? When you have so many court cases coming up, and then now the Rajmoti one, it can even be dismissed because we know that our judges, they look at the political party, not at facts on the ground. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Veggie, for that contribution. But yeah, you're saying if you're the judge, you're going to say you'd let the people decide. But I wonder how would that turn out, because I mean, there's a law that speaks on those issues, and well, let's hear from others. Chimurenga, good morning. What are your thoughts on today's topic? Chimurenga, are you there?
Yes, morning.
Good
How are
morning. I
you?
can hear you. Please do quiet.
Yeah, morning, Site. How are you? Morning, citizens. How are you? We're looking at this issue on the political side. We're looking at it on the Democrat side. So what I only see is when we are not prepared for elections, we tend to lose, because a lot of things happen when elections start. Even if you check when the date of election was announced, a lot of things started to change in Zimbabwe. Even the rate started going up. It means it was setting the tone of Zimbabwean election. So I'm baffled with my friends. They were there at the court at the same time. They were there in Harare. So some of these arguments, we just need to tell the electorate exactly what happened. I understand these guys are lawyers. They would be fighting. They know law better than us. Maybe we just nobody, we're just citizens who are also concerned about the country. Whenever we